And we're back. And my shirt's a different color because time has passed. So finally, we get to the heart of the matter, which is actually editing video. But we still need to be careful and go slow as we move ahead, because the truth is you can edit video without me. But I want to show you where all the mistakes are. I want to show you all the things you're going to try to avoid doing along the way to make your life a little bit better. Now we're going to come over here and we're going to start with the project assets. Remember, we stuck everything in here in the last video. And we're going to grab one of our videos. I think we're going to grab video 6213. That's the one where I'm like, hey there, hey there, hey there. And I'm going to what's called bring it out. Now, before I bring it out, I got to ask myself, bring it out where? So let's take a look down here at the timeline. So the timeline is the bottom half of the window, and the timeline is pretty cool because if you look, it's, by the way, I can scroll up and down. I know my face is there, but there's little scroll bars there, and I can scroll left and right. And if I scroll up and down, you're going to see that there's video 3, audio 3, video 2, audio 2, video 1, audio 1. And you read video from top down. It's like, so it's 3, then 2, then 1. So that's the way it goes down. Now, every video track, or most video track, will have an audio track associated with it. You see me and you hear me. So that's video 3 and audio 3 and video 2 and audio 2. They're linked together. Not all videos, you'll have video sometimes without audio. More often you'll have audio without video. And in fact, they are separate tracks called voice and music, which are literally audio tracks without any video. It is possible, by the way, to add more tracks, but I mean to tell you something, 3 tracks is enough for almost everything you're going to want to do. Now, when I go to bring it out, I've got to decide where I want to bring it out to. And I'm going to bring it out to the video 1, audio 1. That's what I want to bring it to. The question, of course, is where. Now, when I say where, I want to point out some things about our timeline. So our timeline is a linear time, and it starts at 0, 0, 0, also known as the origin. And if you look over here, I've got this little blue triangle-y thing with a red line, and this is our playback head. And the playback head, which is the most important thing in this program. And matter of fact, when you're editing any video, you must always ask yourself, where is my playback head? It's one of the 2 most important things you know at all times. We'll get to the other one in a moment. Where is my playback head? And you can drag your playback head back and forth in a process known as scrubbing, or anywhere up in the timeline, you can just click and it will jump there. And it's very nice to know that it will jump there. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag it all the way back to my origin, which is nice. Now, when you bring out your video, if you're really, really good at bringing out your video, you'll bring it to the timeline and you'll slide it to the origin and it will magnetically snap in place. But if you let it go too quickly, do not try to pick it up again yet. I've got something to show you. So let me come over here and do a bad job. I'm going to bring it out to video 1, audio 1, so you can see it's there. And before I slide it all the way over, I'm going to let go and go, oops, I dropped it too quickly. Now, this is where we have to talk about the nature of a video clip on the timeline. You see, Premiere Elements and Premiere Pro and almost all video editing programs are so powerful because every little thing means something. And you see this yellow line, that does something. This yellow line, that does something. That's a drop-down menu, that's a drop-down menu. And even on the edge, you're going to see my cursor turns to a red bracket, my cursor turns to a red bracket. So we have to be very careful where we touch our video clip from. And the only safe place to touch a video clip from is by its name. If there's a tail, or is it a white space after the name, that could work as well, but that's not always there. But you can always grab a clip by its name. I can click there, and that's safe. And then I can drag it, and it will pop into place. And again, the magnetic snap is essential when it comes to video. The reason it's essential is if you have 2 video clips and they don't snap together, then either you're going to drop it too quickly and there'll be like a gap, or you'll actually overlap and you'll actually hurt yourself. So your best bet is to rely on it. The magnetic snap exists in other programs. Often if you're in Photoshop, you can turn the snap tool on. It can snap to edges or other items. But it's a little bit unusual for first-time editors. It's not like someone is, bumping your elbow when you're trying to work. So you want to learn to take control of the snap when you're doing image editing, but for video editing, everybody knows you need the snap. The snap is nice, by the way, because it can snap to the origin, it can snap to the ends of other video clips, but it can also snap to your playback head, and your playback head is the most important tool you've got. Now I can come over here and we can actually scrub, and I can go backwards, or I can hit play on the keyboard button there.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared.
Today I teach you how to edit video. And it's stuttering a little bit, which is not uncommon, by the way, and that's because you're trying to do all these types of effects and renders at the same time. And one of the things is if I right-click on the monitor window, I can actually say that the playback quality should be the lowest. And if I do this, then it's probably going to play a little bit smoother. Hey everybody, my name is Bendis, and today I'm here to teach you how to edit video. And that's just one example of how that works. I'm going to go back to automatic and let it do its thing. I don't know what other processes are running on my computer right now. All right, now we're not even done yet, because right now you'll see it's only taken up, the video clip is only taking up so much of the timeline. And we can zoom in and we can zoom out, and we can do that over here on the right, where I can zoom out on the timeline, or I can zoom in on the timeline, and of course you can really start to see how much I can magnify. If in doubt, if you click this button over here, it says Fit to Visible Timeline, that'll take everything on your timeline and basically magnify on that. Now the thing about the timeline magnification is that it's magnifying on your playback head. And if my playback head here, for instance, and start to zoom in, all the video disappears, but it's over there. If I scroll back, it's all the way over there because I zoomed in on my playback head. And again, if I put my playback head here, that makes my life a little bit easier, and I can zoom out again. So being able to zoom in and zoom out and realize that the playback head is the focus of everything that you're doing is really the first step of working in this program. All right, let's actually do some editing. Now, editing is done in one of two ways. You either want to keep what's good or throw away what's bad. Now, I know that sounds kind of silly, but it really is a point of view. If you're doing a research paper, you might want to grab all of the books you're looking for, and then you say, oh, I don't need this one, I do need this one, I don't need this one. And some of you will view this as, ooh, I'm keeping the good stuff, and some of you are going to be looking at this as I'm getting rid of the bad stuff. It's a glass half empty, glass half full kind of point of view. Either one is acceptable, and you do need to learn that this is the process. So what we're going to do here is we are going to take a look and listen to this clip and figure out what we like from the first clip of the clip. Hey everybody, my name is Bendis, and today I'm here to teach you how to edit video. I don't know. All right, so I want to isolate just that first part. Hey everybody, today we're going to learn how to edit video. So to do that, and the fun part is you actually see the audio, which is very, very useful. If I zoom in, you can actually see the audio, and I can scrub. And once I start scrubbing, I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard and even go frame by frame. All right, let's do this though, right? So I'm using the space bar to play. All right, so I don't want to start with my mouth open, so I'll back up a little bit. My mouth is closed. And I go right there. So right there, I want this clip to start. Now, your vocabulary is going to be a little bit different because you think, oh, I want to cut it here. But cut it means something in the computer world, right? Cut means to grab something and put it in temporary memory. And if I were to say I want to cut this clip, it would take the entire clip and throw it in temporary memory. So you don't want to do it that way. Instead, the process is known as splitting the clip. And you would do this with scissors. And if you look over here, there's actually scissors right on my playback head. And if I click on the scissors, what it does is it splits my clip into two clips. So I have this clip and this clip. And notice, by the way, that when I touch one or touch the other, it highlights or it selects. Which, by the way, is the second thing you must remember at all times. Number one is where is your playback head, and the other is what, if anything, is selected. If I click over here, nothing is selected. If I drag my cursor, both things are selected. If I just click the one by its name, this one is selected or this one is selected. And there you go. So what, if anything, is selected? Now, if I was inside of Microsoft Word and I were to highlight a paragraph and then I were to hit delete, what would happen to those words? Well, they would delete. What would happen to the space under those words? And that's an interesting one, because if you think about it, if you have two paragraphs and you delete one space, one paragraph, not just the paragraph goes away, but the space goes away as well, and it moves up. So if I come over here and click this clip and hit delete, it didn't just delete the clip, but it also deleted the space under the clip. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, because there's ways, sometimes you want to keep the space there and sometimes you don't. It's what's known as a ripple delete. So let me see.
Here to teach you how to edit video.
All right, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to come over here and I will split this clip there as well. Then I will go to the next video where I do it again.
Show it again.
All right, let's go back to the hey everybody. And I will split this clip again. Ooh, I used a keyboard shortcut. It's Control K. But I also could have just clicked the scissor tool. And I will leave that one there for now. All right. All right, that's pretty good. All right, so I will split that one again. And then... and I will split that one there. And hey, everybody. All right, do that one there. Now, at this point, if I zoom out a little bit, we can see that I have multiple clips on the timeline. And of course, maybe I'm not ready to delete them yet. So what I could do is I could rename the clips in the timeline. So I could right click on this one and hit rename and say, hey, take one. And then I can right click on this one and say, hey, take two. And I can right click on this one and I can say, hey, take three. And of course I can right click on this one and say, bad. I can right click on this one and say, garbage. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. An undo button, which we know we have. Whatever I did, I undid. There we go. So I can rename this one garbage. And I can rename this one for later, which actually I'll talk about in a second. So now that I've done that, I can delete the ones I don't want. Now, instead of hitting delete, which we already know what happens, I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to right click and I'm going to say delete. And that leaves what's known as a gap. And if I come over here and I delete this one, there's going to be two different types of spaces you see on the timeline. The space between spaces is called a gap, and it's highlightable. The space at the end of the video goes on forever, and it's not highlightable. Matter of fact, it's very useful because if you click here and it highlights, that means way out there somewhere there actually is something on the timeline, and that can really be distracting. I actually recently tried to render a 20-minute video that rendered for 4 hours because 4 hours after the gap there was one little sliver I'd missed. I wasn't paying attention. And of course, if I highlight the gap, I can delete it. And if I right click on this, you'll see again, it says delete or delete and close gap. And delete and close gap is the default. So now if I watch this video, it's going to be a little bit different.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit. Hey everybody, today I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
Very different takes, by the way, because the first two said today, the second one the camera moved, and the third one I was a little bit more upbeat. So I've got to decide which one that I'm going to use. Now, what's cool, so that's the slice and dice version. And believe it or not, the first part of everything we do is in fact just that, clipping. We isolate the clips of the stuff that we want. And if I wanted to rearrange those clips, I could take this one and I could move it over here, and I could take this one and I could move it over here, and then I could shuffle them around, and they will actually magnetically snap into place. So now it's 3, 1, and 2. Very different order here. Let's rewind and play.
Hey everybody.
Oops. Now it is not being happy right now because it's not rendered properly. But if I were to press enter on the keyboard, it would actually be a little bit different. Pressing space plays it. Enter should render it. And render some previews for me, and that's going to make this whole thing run smoother. It's going to render so that it can play the renders.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis, and today I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis, and today I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
Notice, by the way, that it turned this little orange line to green. So anytime you see that little yellow-orange line on the top of the timeline, that means that the computer is trying to do what's known as a real-time render. And depending on what else the computer is doing, how fast the computer it is, it may or may not stutter. When you press enter, what it does is it does a quick, or as quick as it can, render of everything you've asked it to do so that what you see is pretty much what you get. That being said, if you start doing an enormous amount of special effects, pressing enter on your keyboard could do a lot of, make you wait a lot of time. And that actually goes back to the folders that we had made earlier. If I were to come over to our video demo, now we're going to see that we have something called the video previews folder, and inside of that are the actual renders that this had just made. That's what the green line is. The other thing that you're going to notice is we have something called the Autosave folder. And the Autosave folder, you may have seen it flash, the Autosave is because every 20 minutes this program will incrementally save a version of itself, which is great. It also means that at any given time, if your program or if your computer crashes or corrupts itself, you could always go to that folder and continue. And actually you want to bring it back, rename it, and do something else. It's basically saying, in case of emergency, break this glass, take it, copy it, and then go work from that point forward. I hate to say that the reason they do this is because at some point you may actually need it. Partially because you've ruined it yourself, and partially because it was corrupted irretrievably. But that's good, because you know there's always a version that's no more than 20 minutes old, and it will actually do multiple iterative versions of it. So the idea is that I can shuffle these around, and of course I can come over here and I can shuffle them around. Now, I was doing it very timidly, but if I can now delete the gaps, and there you go. Just come over here, and now they're shuffled around again. So really, we have now done, I would say, 70% of video editing. 70% of video editing is slicing, dicing, and rearranging, and then you get an idea of a narrative flow. All right, so I like take 3 best. I usually like take 3 best. So I'm going to delete take 2, and I'm going to leave take 1 for a moment. We'll talk about take 1 in a second. But somewhere here I have video of me spinning in a circle, right? Right, so. All right, so I got to decide how much of that I want to use, right? I don't want to use the 11 seconds. All right, so I think I'll use to there. Now I'm going to show you a different way of slicing. Now you know how to slice. I already told you how to slice. You move the playback head and you hit the scissor tool and you delete the part you don't like. Easy. But there's another way. Remember that your playback head is really going to be the number one tool that you've got. But one of the things I can do is I can view the video as if it was like a window shade, and I could roll it up. And if I do that by grabbing the end where it turns into a little red bracket, and I can roll the video up into just that segment. And now it looks like this. It's going to still stutter, but it pauses. Isn't that great? Now, the cool part is, if I actually need a little bit more of that in my mistake, I could actually unroll a little bit of it, which is really awesome. The real fun part is you can unroll every video. Remember all that video I had? I can unroll that too. Because remember, these video clips on the timeline are not the ones you're editing. You're using these clips to edit a new clip. But the video clips, every clip on the timeline is an instance of the entire video that is on the hard drive. So that every video, whether I slice it and dice it, that video can be unrolled in both directions as far as that video clip allows for, because the entirety of the video is there, which is very, very nice, because it doesn't matter whether you slice or roll, it's the same thing. There you go. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to delete take 1. I'm going to grab this one back over here on this timeline. I'm going to press enter on the keyboard.
My name is Jared Bendis. Video.
Space, 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 space. Now I'm going to do some funny things with cuts right now. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see what's going on, and I can figure out a good breaking point. By the way, I'm a terrible person to edit. When you do record somebody, ask them to start with their mouth closed, and ask them to breathe and take pauses between paragraphs. Give yourself some edit points. I'm really bad at giving myself edit points. Edit points you can see in the waveform are usually when it gets quiet or when someone's mouth is closed.
Everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
Yeah, so see, I paused the wrong spot, right?
Hey everybody.
Hey everybody. I could pause right there.
My name is
Jared Bendis.
I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
So right there is the T and the V to edit video. So I'm gonna slice it right there, and then I'm going to slap those babies together and see what this does. All right, you ready?
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
Okay. Now that the pacing was wrong, so I want to go. I'm here to edit right around there, right before my eyes thing. That's where I want it. Video. Let's do it again. All right.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
There you go. That to me is a little bit better pacing, and you'll figure out the pacing as you go. Now, even though we'll autosave every 20 minutes, it doesn't stop me from hitting Control-S every few minutes myself. All right, that's a good starting point. Now, what else do we have? What else can we do? So that's video, and that's a little bit of video and audio. Well, let's talk about still images for a moment. Let's come over here and grab this still picture, and I'm going to grab the still picture, and I'm going to bring it out to the timeline. And you're like, wow, that still picture is, well, there it is. It's a still picture on the timeline. And I can actually make it... I can make it shorter or I can make it longer, which you can't do with video, by the way. With video, when you go like this, it goes until the end, and when you bring it back, you can cut it shorter, but you can only stretch it to the end of its video. So when it comes to still images, we want to talk a little bit about some of the preferences that are built into Premiere Elements. Edit, Preferences, General. And let's go through some of the preferences because this is a good time to talk about them. So the first thing is, it says still image default duration 5 seconds. So what that means is that when I bring a still image from the project, well, actually when I load a still image by clicking add media, it automatically says it is 5 seconds long. And that's the still image default duration. It's not when you drag it from here to here, it's when you add the media into place. So if I was going to do a slideshow and I wanted all my images to be 3 seconds long, then I can set this to 3 seconds and import all of my images and do it that way. Now, don't get me wrong, I can always change them one by one afterwards, but this makes my life a little bit easier. Also, when we go to video and audio transitions, you're going to see 30 frames is the default transition, 1 second is the default transition. So some of these settings you'll want to do ahead of time when you're starting to play with these things. Let's take a look. Audio, play audio while scrubbing, that's good. Audio hardware, it's asking me about what the audio hardware I have is. And of course, the default microphone is this microphone, which is what I'm using. And the default speakers are my default speakers. And this is important to notice because I put a headset microphone on later on. The USB headset microphone would have to be the input of choice if I was going to be doing voiceover, and that's going to happen. Also, what am I listening through? Adobe Premiere Elements hijacks its own hardware settings. So you can actually have the hardware settings of your computer be different than Premiere Elements. And it's good to know this because if you do want to use a headset and you're like, why am I hearing it out the speakers? That's because you have to set it yourself in Premiere Elements. The autosave saves every 15 minutes with a maximum of 5 projects, which means the old ones start to go away. We're not worrying about capture right now. Media, scratch disks. This is which computer we're using the scratch disks from. And that's about it for now. So at least you got a good sense of where the settings are. Now, one of the other things that we have to look at here is what are these black bars on the side of my image? Well, the black bars on the side of my image have to do with the fact that the image itself does not have the same aspect ratio of my screen. And those black bars, in fact, aren't black bars at all. They are actually areas of transparency. It just happens to be that the screen itself is black when there's nothing on it, so that's what you see underneath. To demonstrate this, if I could take this image and I can put it on I could put it on video 2, and if I put it on video 2 and bring my playback head, now you're going to see the image on top and the video underneath, and you can actually see how that works. Does that make sense? So the idea is that the image isn't there. Now, the fun part about this is all right, so let's say I wanted my image to fill the screen. And by the way, the answer is you always want the image to fill the screen. So if you want the image to fill the screen, all you have to do is literally in the monitor window, touch the image, and you can make it bigger. I can actually make it bigger. I can make it smaller. If I put my cursor outside of any of the corners, I can even rotate it, though I don't want the little black there, so I have to zoom in a little bit more. So I could zoom and I can rotate, and I can even pick it up and I can move it. And so you can move, you can rotate, and you can zoom, and I can undo, undo, and undo, and undo, and undo. And this brings up a really important point. It's something that I normally call the giraffe problem, but in this case, I'm going to call it the tall tree problem. And the reason that I'm going to call it the tall tree problem is that generally, when we're going to take photographs of tall things, we tend to turn our camera to the side. And so this is exactly what we do. We're like, oh, I'm going to turn my camera to the side so I get a bigger picture. And in print, you'd be correct. But because the height of the screen is the height of the screen, regardless of the size of the picture, what ends up happening is that the tree is probably the exact same size. Well, in this case, it isn't the same size. Here, let me use the third picture. That's why I did 3 pictures. All right, so the tree can be the same size in both of these pictures, but there's a lot more white space or negative space on this one, which we do not want. And so the idea being that if you're going to fill the screen, you want to be able to fill the screen. So what you do is you give yourself as much room as you possibly can so that when I come over here and I do fill the screen, now the tree, let me actually make it so the tree is big, right? So the tree is big, and the tree is almost the same size, but in this one we actually have filled our screen, and in this one we've made it extremely awkward. And so we have to be very careful. And of course that means is if I wanted to fill the screen with this picture, then I would only be seeing part of the tree at the same time, and then maybe I'd have to learn to animate kind of scrolling up and scrolling down the tree, which is all Ken Burns-ish, and then you have to worry about timing, which we're not there yet. So the idea being is your best bet is to figure out a way to fill the screen so that it is edge to edge and there aren't any black bars or there aren't any things that aren't part of the image. So remember, if you're shooting stills for video, you want to make sure you back up. Remember, the resolution of even HD video is only 1920 by 1080, which is a lot lower than your digital camera is going to allow for, is going to need. So if you've got a 12, 15, 20 megapixel camera, you can have all this data that you can waste. So go ahead, back up, go ahead, make things smaller, because by the time you bring it in, you're going to be golden. And again, the idea being here is that you press play and
video.
Just silent. But of course, you've got your images, and then of course you can change what you want. You can leave that stuff in there. You can leave the black bars in there, but you'll notice, by the way, it just jumps from black bar to full screen, and those black bars become annoying. You can get away with this in PowerPoint, because in PowerPoint you're doing this idea of relaying information. It's like a slideshow. But when it comes to video, people really want to see edge to edge, and it's something that you really want to kind of pay attention to as you're designing. Now, if I were to bring in here my little room, remember that little room video I had? It's going to take a second for it to pop into place, because my computer is slow right now. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. If I were to bring in this video, as you remember, now this is interesting because this video isn't HD. But one of the cool things about Premiere Elements, different than Premiere Pro, is that Premiere Elements always tries to fit, not fill, but fit the screen for you. Fit meaning it's going to always magnify it and then kiss the edges of the screen. And that's very, very useful, but it's different than you're going to find in other programs where if you were to bring this in at its regular magnification, it would actually be a one-to-one relationship. If I were to come over here and click on my effects windows, which is what the edit effects window is, if I were to click on motion, you're going to see that the scale, wait, aha. Oh, is the scale set to 100%? Oh, the scale is set to 100%. That's weird. I thought this would be a much lower resolution. I would expect the video to be much lower resolution than that. And you can see the scale goes down. But we're going to go back to the FX window later. Just understand that anything that we do here, and of course now we've cut off the top and bottom to fill my screen with an SD video. Not always wise. Let's see if it holds up. I'll start here. I don't like with my hand blocking it. And all right, so we'll start there. That's a much better starting point. All right, good. So now we don't need any of this. We have that. And you know what? I think I want to start with that. Well, how do I get all of this in here? Well, what I could do is I could pick all of this up. I could grab it all like it was in Word, and I could move it over here. Or one of the cool things about this program is that, believe it or not, if you're really clever and you're patient with a video clip, everything will squeeze out of the way. If you drop a clip on the seam of another clip, watch this. Everything will zoom, will just push out of the way. Now, if you drop it in the middle of another clip, bad things happen. But that's one of the ways that I can shuffle things. Notice, by the way, there's an orange line here and an orange line here. And those orange lines mean that what we're seeing is a real-time render of whatever happens. If I want to render those renders so that I can see it clearer, I press Enter on my keyboard and I let the render preview start to render previews.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
All right, so there we have 15 seconds, only 2 more hours to go, and we'll have a full feature-length movie of just weird little clips. Somewhere here I've got the clip of the moon, one of my favorite, one of the most bizarre bits of trivia. I don't remember if I said this in the other video or not, but apparently in the original Little Shop of Horrors, they were editing. The movie was filmed in 2 days. There was a whole tax and thing going on. And they were editing the movie in 2 days, and they filmed the movie in 2 days, and they couldn't get these two pieces to edit together. And some guy grabbed a clip of the moon and just stuck the moon in between to make it easier to cut. So it jumps to the moon and jumps back. And apparently later on, someone wrote an essay about the meaning of the full moon in Little Shop of Horrors, even though it was just a cut to mask some bad edit, which I think is hysterical. Because again, people will read into whatever you want them to. There we go. So I've taken my little manual zoom, and now I'm going to begin with, I'm going to slide this to the beginning, let everything slide out of the way, and now we have even more. Let it render.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video.
And again, now we're even getting further into this. Think about it. You can rearrange the clips. You can resize the clips. You can rotate the clips. You can, I mean, that's pretty good, right? Rearrange, size, rotate, move. Now wait. We had another clip in here, and we're going to bring this clip back out at the end. And I'm going to scroll towards the end, because I know that towards the end of this clip here, I have one. Oops, there it is, where it is. Get used to navigating, folks.
Hey.
That's me going, hey, thanks for
watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
All right, so that's the end of my clip. So I'll roll up the end. And then I'll look for the beginning of the clip. I can use the audio. But I like the walking in. Like I walk in. Yeah, that's nice. So I'll start from there, right? I'll start from there. And then, of course, this half I'll delete. And you can do that. You can roll up one side, delete the other side, zoom in, zoom out, navigating around. That's the real joy of this. All right? Delete that. And so now we've got a couple seconds of this, and then I say thank you. All right, beautiful. So let me press enter one more time and we can watch the whole thing.
Hey everybody, my name is Jared Bendis. I'm here to teach you how to edit video. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you edit some video. I know it helped me edit some video because I edited this video.
All right, so that's a starting point, right? A little bit of narrative there. So now we're going to stop. We've done 90% of all video editing here. We can slice, we can dice, we can rearrange, we can bring in still images, we can do all this type of stuff, but we haven't gotten to the special effects or the audio or things like that. But I want to stop here because when we come back, we're going to learn all about everything that could possibly go wrong. That's next.